So, hi everyone. This is the second chapter of Agricultural Products Marketing course, and today I would like to present the situation of agricultural products marketing. So, let's get started. So here are the content that I'm gonna teach you for this lecture. At first, I will give you I will talk again for the characteristic and the marketing channels of agricultural products. So we're gonna learn about the things that we need to concern in terms of the characters from the agricultural products marketing, because it's not like the general products that we mentioned last time and today. Is just wrap it up and just focus on the key point that you need to concern. Also, we will learn about the channel for distribution agricultural products and what or who will be included for the marketing channel. Then the second topics, I will teach you the price and margin set for agricultural products. Is gonna link to some content from the economics class. I think many of you took that before. It's about demand, supply, and then I'm gonna show you some case that if the price increase, what will affect to the price setting or the marketing margin. Then the third key point is also the regulations or the rules or even the measures of the agricultural products marketing, which is you need to follow, and sometimes it must be concerned in terms of uh, the domestic also international regulations. And the last one, I'm going to provide you Thailand supporting unit for agricultural products marketing. So again, here are all the content that we're going to learn today. So the first one, characteristic and channel of agricultural products marketing. So agricultural products is not the same as the process or the final uh, or finished product, because it still have many points that if you forget to concern, it will affect to your products directly. So the first one, agricultural product is still raw or is considered as the raw materials the most. So we need to have many processing steps for changing the form, for transferring, and also for increase the value. So it's not like the other finished product that you buy from the market and it's ready to use. But agricultural products, they need to have some step behind. The second one, this is very perishable, so it's easy to spoil, which means you cannot keep for long time. Sometimes it still have some respiration, like I mentioned last time, if it's still breathe in and breathe out. So it's produce is produce carbon dioxide and it need to use oxygen to have some respiration. So you need to control the temperatures. You need to concern how you keep the agricultural products to have a good quality until you send to the consumer hand. So in this case, we might need to have many middle person. So and when we need to have many middle person, you need to think about the cost of the production and also the technology that will be applied for maintain the quality. For example, if you want to produce the frozen vegetable, so you need to think about, oh, what is the quality of the raw materials that you need to receive. So it must be very good quality. Of course, frozen process will not be able to increase the value or will not increase the quality anymore. So you need to have very good quality. Then you need to have some frozen process. So that is include for the middle person. So in this case, middle person can be anyone. So any person who are in between the origin of the product, like the raw material, until it's sent to the consumer. So in this case, we might have many middle person. For example, you might have the transporters, you might have the food processors, you might have the retailer, wholesalers, and then the consumers. So this is how agricultural products work. Again, it's not just like you have the raw materials, you have the food product or agricultural product, then you send to the consumers. Okay, the third one is have the bulky characteristic. We mentioned last time the pineapple that many farmers produce, it can use just around 40% of the meat or the flesh. So other than that is the waste. So we have many unusable part that considered to be the waste utilization. So if you can use some waste to produce another product, that should be great. But mostly agricultural products, you have lots of waste and it's used for dumping the land or maybe the fertilizer, which is costless. Then Microsoft is bulky, so you need to think about the transportation. For example, if you have a huge, if you need to have 1 tons of the pineapple flesh of pineapple meat, so you need to keep some space, maybe two times, in order to transport. Then you have the full version of the pineapple, and then you do some processing to have just the meat or the flesh. Do not include for the leaf or the peel. See, bulky product is also the problem of the agricultural product. And sometimes we also have the problem about the location as well. So agricultural products is grown very different area. So some products they grown and harvest from very high land on the northern part of Thailand or the northeastern part of Thailand. But if you need to process it, so you need to transfer it fast. If not, it's gonna be spoiled. And if not, the quality of the product is reduced during the transportation. So location is also concerned. The next one, seasonal variabilities. So we have very specific time for agricultural products to produce and to harvest it, to be harvested. So you need to make sure that it's produced correct time or the right time that you want to use. So we need to have to apply many marketing activities during the seasonal in terms of seasonal variability. For example, transportation also concerned, storage process also concerned. Like here, think about if I want to produce the orange juice. So I need to have the mandarin orange, which is the third one on your screen. So the time for having the raw material is start from September, October, November, December, and maybe late February. So in this case, you must think, oh, this is the time for having the mandarin orange. And then when I need to harvest, how I need to transfer my raw materials to the factory, to the food factory, how to maintain their quality during the transportation. Do I need to apply any cold temperature for the container or for the truck or not? And at the processing unit, do I need to remove the peel? Do I need to remove the seed? Or what is the processing machines that I need to use for extended shelf life? So here are some examples of the agricultural products characteristic that you must consider. Then I also would like to give you some more information about annual variabilities. So annual is mean yearly or think about in terms of the year. So some product is not have stable amount of production. For example, if you think about papaya seems to produce entire of the year, but they have some high season as well. So if it have high season, so that means the papaya production gonna produce the most in that season. If you have a lot of raw materials, the price is reduced. So you need to think about when you will produce, and if is have a lot of production or a lot of fruit on the market, what you should do. So I have some case. This is a real case too. Sometimes if you can keep the raw materials in your warehouse or in your storage, so you might buy the product, the raw materials in the time that it have very high demand. No, high supply. Like it's produced a lot because at that time the price of the product's gonna be decreased. So you need to buy it and then just keep into your warehouse. Maybe you control the temperature. So, but be careful. You need to think about the cost of electricity that you need to use or transportation. But I would say it's good for some time if you can do like frozen form. So if I have very high or very expensive raw materials, like I have maybe the strawberry that I need to produce for the smoothie restaurant. So I will buy the strawberry at the peak season, at the high season. Then I do some processing, like I do the frozen technique. Then I keep into the frozen container or frozen room. And then I can use it for all years. But I need to think about the cost of electricity that I need to spend. If the cost of the raw material is high enough, that will be worth to have this technique. But if the cost of the raw material is not high, so I think that is the bad idea. Of course, you need to spend high cost for keeping. So think about this too. And also sometimes annual variability is about the natural conditions too. Because sometimes natural condition entire of the year is not stable. During summer season, during winter season, and during rainy season, even the same agricultural product, but the production is not the same. And sometimes we also have a problem about the government policies. So government policies sometimes they support some specific agricultural product more than the others. And then if they support, that means they just promote it and they might guarantee the price. So if they do that, we're gonna have high demand from the uh, farmer who want to produce that kind of specific agricultural product. But if it's too many, we can have a problem about the low price of the low cost for the low price for agricultural product. For example, think about the rubber tree. So the rubber tree is the tree that we collect the sap or the milky water that we use to produce the rubber. So last around last 10 years, the government supports a lot for having this kind of production. Then almost everywhere around Thailand, the farmer just plant it. But for now, the price is reduced a lot. So that is another characteristic of agricultural products. Then the prediction. So prediction is not easy, but if you have very well and you can trust that prediction, that is good for you. For example, if you can predict that what type of agricultural products are going to be famous in next year, so you have some plan to do. For example, about maybe I'm thinking about banana. So banana is also the fruit that commonly consumed around the world. So if you can predict something in advance, like next year gonna be the year that we have like less water around the world because we have the climate change. So you might think about the variety that you can plant. Like in this case, it's gonna be banana tree. So what is variety of banana tree that you can grow for having a good production for the drought or for the hot season with less water. So if you have this one, you're gonna have some benefits from the production. Quality variation. So this is very true, especially when you think about the standard. The agricultural product cannot be very easy to be standardized. Of course, even the same tree, even the same variety is not the same quality. For example, think about tomato tree. Different fruit of tomato have different shape, different size, maybe different taste as well. So that is the things that we need to concern. But after you receive the raw materials, the processing unit like food industry can make is the same, like standardized. We can apply some technique to produce is the same. And also environment, natural change, the climate change, the production technologies, and also post-harvest technology need to be concerned. The last one is the specific grown location. So some agricultural product need to have very specific climate, needs to have specific weather. For example, for the strawberry, they need to have very cold weather to produce the good quality products. Or think about macadamia. So macadamia is a type of the nut that mainly produced or mainly grown in the highland, like very high altitude of the land. So that is the reason why we're gonna have some macadamia production in just Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, or maybe the northeastern part, just for some provinces. So this is how we need to concern, because it's not, sometimes it might not be produced in the lower land. Or I also have some case that if you want to produce the strawberry in some province that is very hot, you need to build the greenhouse and control the temperature. But the cost of production is going to be increased too. Okay. Then think about the marketing channels of the agricultural products. So we have two perspectives that we need to concern. First one, we will talk about the marketing channel in terms of economics. So in terms of economics, the people are going to think about the way that products move from producer to the consumer. So they have middle person who link all steps, and it's actually change the ownership from the farmer to the first middle person to the second, and finally to the consumer. So economics will focus for the movement and the ownership changes. But for marketing, in terms of marketing, they're gonna concern about people or organizations who work for moving products. So it's the same about the moving, but economics concern about ownership. But for marketing, they just concern about the movement of the product, and they create the marketing activities. So this is totally different in terms of the point of view. The marketing, they also concern that is, we have different type of agricultural products, so we need to treat, or we need to uh, take care differently. And some of the agricultural products are very complicated. Like some product is very perishable or easy to be spoiled. So you need to take care a lot, and sometimes you need to have many middle persons too. So keep in mind for now, if you have many middle person, the cost of marketing activity gonna be increased. And last one, in terms of marketing, they also have the point on the form and functional change, because um, we have marketing activities that transfer the raw materials to the final consumers. So in this case, in terms of marketing, they're concerned about the change of the form, the change of the function, but it's linked to the values that will be added during the process. So for example, you can see on the left, oh no, bottom right corner. This is the example of the rice processing. You let the rice farmer grow the rice. Then, when it's ready to be harvested, you just harvest. Then the farmer will send the paddy rice or the rice with the outer skin to the first middle person. So in this case, the price may be around 20 baht per kilogram. Then you send from the middle person to the second middle person to produce the brown rice. So you might send them to the um, polish factory to remove the outer skin. So in this case, the price is increased. So you remove the outer skin, then finally the price of the rice will be increased maybe around 20 baht per kilogram. After that, you just want to remove the brown layers again. So you pull it again. You may send to the other middle person. So in this case, we're gonna have white rice. So this is the third middle person. Then the price of the rice will be increased again because we have some more production. So it might cost around 30 baht per kilogram. After that, you pack the white rice and then you send to the wholesale and the retail and the consumer. So the final price for the white rice might be around 40 baht per kilogram. So see, in terms of marketing, we have many activities. We did not think about the ownership change, but we focus for the movement of the products during the marketing activities. And when we have many marketing activities, the price will increase during the process. So that is the reason why sometimes you have very big difference at the price from the farm when you compare the price when you purchase. Okay. So why marketing channel is important or why it need to be concerned? Because when we think about the marketing channels carefully, you might know the numbers and the type of middle person who you need to include. Like I just mentioned for the rice. So rice production, you have more than 4 or 5 middle person. So in this case, you might think is this good enough to have all of them, or you can remove some middle person to reduce the price. So considers about uh, marketing channels carefully might affect to your profit and to your business. Then marketing channels also provide you the information for decision making, like it's linked to the sentence that I just mentioned. So if you think sometimes you can reduce all middle person by have the direct sale, like direct purchase from the consumer. So you can keep um, the price low and you can have some higher profit because the profit that you're gonna have is gonna be reduced during the processing step, during the marketing activities. No, it's make you be free to make the decision making. But be careful. If you think you can do everything by yourself, it might cost more. For example, if you want to uh, produce the canned tuna, so you think, oh, I can do everything by yourself, but sometimes it might cost a lot because you need to build the new factory, you need to control the quality, you need to send it to the consumer. So this would be great if you can have some people who help you. And this marketing channel concern can let you know which one is good, which one is bad, or in case of organic fruit and vegetable. So organic fruit and vegetable, you can send those products directly to the consumer if you have a huge market or if you produce by yourself. For example, and I know one farmer, organic farmers in Chiang Mai. They did not use any middle person. They sell the products by themselves, but they also have the place to distribute or place to just show the products. It's like we call the Sunday market. So every Sunday morning, they're gonna bring the fruit and vegetable that is considered to be organic there on the market, and then they just sell the products. So they can remove almost every middle person. Then they can set the price by themselves. So that is good. But be careful. Think about the marketing channels carefully. Then, why this is important? Because it's about the product usage. So if you know about the marketing channel, you will know what type of product that you can use domestically. For example, you want to produce the canned tuna. As I mentioned before, last chapters and also in the live session, we did not produce canned. We did not harvest tuna on Thai Gulf or Andaman Sea because tuna need to have specific location like very deep ocean. So we import it from the other country in the frozen form. Then we do some process. So in this case, we did not concern about domestic use, but we concern about import from the other countries. So marketing channel is concerned. So we need to think about how we gonna have the raw materials or how many middle person gonna be involved during the transferring of the raw materials. So in this case, that is the reason why they all are important for knowing the marketing channels. So there are two main types of the marketing channels in agricultural products marketing. The first one, we have the name, which is the combination. So combination is like you collect the raw materials or the agricultural products from the farmers or the growers. Then you collect and combine together to just be one uh, one receiver. Then you send to the wholesale process, you send to the processing, and then they send to the other part like wholesale to retail and to domestic use. Or you send to the processing step like food factory, then you send to the wholesales again and retail. Or the last one, you do some processing and export to international market. This type of marketing channel will focus specifically for very perishable products because you need to have to collect from maybe very far land. Like you need to collect from the land that they produce directly. For example, how about the cold season fruit that you need to produce to the canned maybe. For example, I'm thinking about the cold season fruit in Thailand, maybe plum or apricot. Yeah, apricot, that should be better. You would like to produce the apricot, canned apricot or apricot in can. So the apricot can grow and be harvested just for the northern part of Thailand. So in this case, you might have one middle person who collect everything, who collect the fruit to you. Then, because it has very short shelf life, you need to collect and send to the other sectors for the other activities. Like in this case, I might collect the apricot from one mountain, then I'm gonna ask for the second mountain, for the third mountain, and combine together. After that, I collect it and send to the wholesale for using. It's like fresh or domestic consumption for the fresh version. Or I collect to have enough quantity. I can send to the processing factory to process the canned apricot. So this is how this happened. Or sometimes you also have the spreading marketing channels too. So spreading marketing channels, mostly they happen in terms of the farmers send the agricultural products directly to the other sectors. Like they send to the wholesale, they send to the processing step, they send to the retail, or sometimes they export by themselves. So this one is called spreading. I did not want to mention which one is good, which one is bad, or which one is better, because it depends on the type of agricultural products. So spreading is will be used when you can transfer it fast and you are able to transfer by yourself. But for for the combining type, you might need to have the other person who's going to be the collectors or who's going to be the middle person. So in this case, combination will be good for the agricultural product that is not easy to transfer and very perishable. But if your agricultural product is very easy to deliver, so that is you can use the type which is you send directly from the producer to the other person, like wholesale, retail, or even the exporter. And then we have, in terms of the level of marketing channel, we can have 4 types. First one, direct channel. So it's like the spreading type that we just talked. So direct market channels, the growers send to consumer directly. One level, we include the retailer. We didn't have the wholesaler. If we have wholesaler to be included, so that is a second level channel. But some case we can have 3 level channels. We add special service wholesaler to the transportations. Why we need to have this part? Because sometimes if your product is very new on the market, so sometimes the owner gonna be gonna have some action, like they gonna be another type of the wholesale. So they have some duties for promote their products, set the price, and do some demonstration, like these pictures. Sometimes you went to a department store and you see some person who set the fruit or vegetable, then they just ask you to talk to him. Like, Mister, would you mind if I need you to stop and taste the product? So this is the new product that we produce from our farm. It's good because it can have more nutrient like this one. Or this special service also take care about this the shelf set up as well. So they do almost everything just for promote their product for the new market. And after that, if they did for the wholesale promotion announcement, after that, they send to the retail and send to the consumers. So we might have some case for 3 level channel as well. So this is all 4 levels of agricultural products marketing channel. So we've just finished the first key point. The second key point is about the price and the margin setup. So as I talked at the beginning, so this is more economic class. So some of you hate economic class, but I will try my best to explain. But if you still have some point that you get confused, let me know. What is the price meaning? The meaning of the price is considered in terms of the product's value per physical unit. It means is considered for 1 fruit or for 1 kilogram or for 1 piece, like that one. So measuring by unit of the money, and it must be converted to the money unit. Like 10 bahts per kilogram, 1 piece is called for 10 baht, like that one. And agricultural products have different from other products because normally agricultural products price is set by the market. Specifically in terms of the competitive market. So they fight with the price on the market. Think about durian. This is a good example. Every year, the durian price is the price that is set by the demand and supply. The demand and the thing that you want and supply the amount that the producer want to sell. So if that time you have very high number of the durian, the price will be reduced, right? But if we have like at the beginning of the season or maybe late season, the price we did not have high amount of huge amount of the durian, the price will be increased. So they have competitive markets. And why I mentioned that it happens because sometimes if you see one person who set very high price and you need to have more market share, you will reduce the price. So this is how the agricultural product is set. So you fight together sometime. Then it's frequently change. So I just mentioned beginning of the season the price is high, the peak season the price is low, the late season the price is high again. So that time will affect to the change of the price. And then they said lower price at farm than that consumer pay. So it's correct because if you remember about the rice production, the price for the rice at farm is quite low. But after they do some process like remove the skin out, they remove the skin out, remove the brown layer, the like in brown rice you have the layer that cover. So, but many people don't want to have the layer like that. They need to have the white part only. So they remove the brown part. So that is the reason why on your hands the price is increased a lot. Why we need to concern about price? Because this is very important to economy system. In terms of the resource that you need to use, the revenue that you will have, the marketing process that you need to monitor, because the price is actually the balance between demand and supply. So let's talk about it one of each. Demand. What is demand? Demand is actually the number of the product that you need. So the demand will have the trend like you see on the graph here. If we have high or we have huge number of the products, the price will be decreased. So this is how demand curve happen. For example, so if the price is 10 baht per kilogram, no one want to buy because it's high. But if the price reduced to 2 baht per kilogram, you might have around 8 kilogram that you can sell to the market. So demands again, demand is about the things that consumer need, the number of that consumer need. Or you still get confused. Think about if I have strawberry again. Strawberry is pretty expensive at that time, but if you have some promotion by reduce the price 50%, so the demand is increased because you want to buy more because it's cheaper price, right? So if the demand is from yourself, is from each people, that is the individual demand. But if it's from a group of consumers or the target consumers demand, we call it the market demand. For example, the demands for the durian consumption in Chiang Mai. So that is the market demand. Then, what is the factors that affects to the demands? The first one is the product price. So as I just mentioned, if the price increase, the demand decrease. So it's reverse effect. But if the price reduce or if the price decrease, demand increase. So this is very normal. Then related product price, if that product can be replaced or can be substitute, can be used by the other type of the product, it's gonna affect to the demands too. For example, if I would like to use the butter from But I found that the butter from Australia is also good quality. So I can use um, the butter from Australia instead of the US version. So this the demands from the US butter gonna be reduced. The consumer income, so it's linked directly to the purchase power. So if you have more income, it means you can pay more and the demands of that product will be increased. Market prediction. So it's about forecasting or predicting in the future. You can have very good information from some organization that they can predict something in advance, like what will famous in the future. Like I mentioned again for the last lecture, I was talking about the health food or organic food that will be have high demand in the future. So you need to, because it's, this is a trend that you can predict, but sometimes it's not easy to predict as well, especially for the agricultural products. But for the processed product, the product that already processed, you can predict it easy more, like more. Or thinking about, it's just hit on my mind, thinking about the plant-based protein. So plant-based protein is going to be have high demand in the future because we have overpopulations around the world right now, and the animal that we consume almost every day will not enough. So this is the demand that you can predict, and it's effectively to agricultural products too. Then population size and structures is linked to the previous point. So if you have very high number of the population in Thailand, that means the demand for agricultural products going to be increased. Or the family structures, if you have very big family, or in the past, Thailand have very huge family structures. We have many members in one family. So the demand of agricultural product is increased. But right now, we have very tiny structures, like we call nuclear family, which is we might have just father, mother, and son, just 3 or 4 members. So demands of agricultural products might not increase because the consumption just reduced. Okay. The other things that might affect to the demands, for example, the taste or the preference, the education. So seems you have more education, you have more taste, you might prefer high quality of agricultural products. What about religion? Some religions, they did not consume some specific type of the meat. Like for Islamic person, they did not consume the pork. Sometimes season also affects too. We have high season, low season. Marketing costs and transportation costs also affects to the demands. If it have high marketing costs and transportation costs, the demands will be reduced because you need to spend more money to have the product. So there are 2 types of the demands line. We have primary demands and derived demands. So for me, I remember like this way. So primary demands is the demands at the retail level or at the final stage or consumer stage. But for derived demands or linked demand or related demand, I use this term because it's also linked to the other things. So demands for derived is considered as the demand from producer or from middle person of in the processing step or wholesale level. So again, if you think about the primary demand, is the demand at the retail point or demands from the consumers. But if you think about the derived demand, it's the demand at the point of purchasing or the point of processing. Like in this case, it's the demand from producer or middle person. Why we need to concern? Because actually, if we set the line like you can see on the screen here. If we draw the line for the same quantity, you will see one thing. Oops, sorry. You will see one thing, which is the price for at the time that consumer purchase is higher than the price at processing unit or farm unit, because during the processing they might add some marketing cost, they might add some marketing charge. That is the reason why the price is increased. So in this case, it's clearly seen, which is price at the consumer purchase is higher than the price at the farm or price at the middle person have. Okay. Oops, it's moving. Then we just finished about the demands. Let me revise that again. So demands is the amount of the products that consumer need. Then supply is different. Supply is amount of the product that seller want to sell. So what is the number that you want to sell to the market? That is supply. The same thing, supply, if you consider about yourself, is this individual supply. Like I want to have 2 fruit from the market, that is individual. But if we think about market supply, it's about the more area or the more target group, like the Chiang Mai supply for having the strawberry. So this is how it's considered. So again, if you think about yourself, that is the individual supply. If you think about more than one people or whole target population, this is the market supply. So let's see about the trend or the line for supply. If the price increased, the supply increased. So we have the direct effect. For example, in terms of the seller, if the price is good, you want to sell more, right? So that is the reason why the trend is like this way. It's different from the demand line. Demand line, if the price increase, the consumer want to buy less. But for the supply, if the price increase, the seller want to sell more. Okay, so it's have two line that have different direction. So what is the factors that affect to the supply? First one, also product price. So that just mentioned. If the product's price increase, so supply increase, but demand decrease. Okay. Related product price. So because of agricultural product is also used for the other step of production. If the raw materials is increased on the price, so the price for the final or processed product is also increased. So if the price increase, you want to sell more in this case. Production cost. So production cost is mentioned by is have reverse effect or reduce in terms of different different direction effects to the supply. Because if we have high production costs, the cost of production is increased, which means the final product you're gonna have very high cost. In this case, very high cost, the consumer might not want to buy, or even the seller, they did not want to sell the most too. So it have some indirect effect. Natural factors, we also consider about seasonal and climate too. If we have some season which have very high price for the product like off season, For example, the durian, the off-season durian. So the supply for the product might not be high, but sometimes the demand might be high too. So in this case, it affects to the production and it affects to the supply. So some of you again, I think many of you just get confused again. So again, supply is the amount of the product that seller want to sell. Like you want to give to the market or to the consumers. So if we have natural factors like seasonal factor and you did not have enough supply, you did not have enough fruit, so it affects to low supply. On the climate change, we didn't have a good quality product, so we have low supply too. But for production cost, if the production cost is high, you might not produce the products a lot. So that means you have low supply. Okay. But if you have high technology, high processing technology, you have more production. So in other terms, it's going to be have high efficiency, which means you can produce it a lot, it's have high supply. Last one, government policies. So the government policy is also affects in terms of they're gonna give some direction to the supply. For example, we consider Thailand as the world kitchen. So we want to produce the food product to the whole country. So we have many food factory that is linked to we have high supply for the food products. Okay. So think about the primary and derived supplies again. We have this line for the demand. We also have this line for the supply, but it's different. Think about the first line, which is derived demands on the milk. And also we have the next one, which is the primary supply for the cheese. Okay. So see, I draw the red lines again. Then the price at producer level or the primary supply have lower than the retail supply. Why? Because the price at farm is cheaper than the price at the consumers will pay. So in this case, the things that happen is because it's the supply line. So don't get confused between um, the the two lines from the left to the right. So consider just the line that is derived supply and primary supply. So again, derived supply is the supply at the retail price or the price at the shop. And supply is primary supply is the price at producer level at the farm. Or maybe you consider it like this way. You can have the price at the retail or at the shop, and you have the price at the farm. So the big difference we will call the margin, the gap. So see, the price at the farm is cheaper than the price at the shop. So in this case, it's convert to margin. For example, for the milk, or maybe for the milk, that should be good. The price of the milk at farm is maybe just 10 baht per kilogram. But after you process into the cheese, the price is increased to maybe 40 baht per kilogram. So what does this mean? This means you have 30 baht for the margin, and this is why you add it. Okay, so this is how the margin is set up. So we set up the margin according to the supply, because the supply is the amount of the product that seller want to sell to the product. We did not concern about the margin in terms of the demand line. So before I'm going to the margin setup again, like for more detail, let's think about this one. This is the price set. Many of you might think, oh, how I set the price? So the price is normally considered at acceptable level between demand and supply. For example, when you go to the market, you might ask, so what price of the orange that you set? Then the seller might say, oh, this is 30 baht per kilogram, and you think, oh, it's quite expensive. Can you reduce the price to 25 baht? She might think, oh, 25 baht also acceptable. So you will have 25 baht per kilogram for your acceptable price. And this price set is actually the balance between demand and supply. Okay, or we call equilibrium price. Then, according to the things that I just mentioned again, marketing margin is actually the price that is different between the price at farm and price at retail level. You might remember like this way, marketing margin is the big difference between the price at shop and price at farm, or price at final destination, or between final place and the primary place. So for me, I remember like this way, the price that I buy the product and the price at the farm. So in this case, you will see the purple line. So the length of the purple line is considered as marketing margin. So normally, you need to have a big gap of marketing margin because you can have more profit. So let's consider the next one, the compositions of marketing margin. So marketing margin is composed with two parts. The first part is marketing charge. So marketing charge including the cost of service of the wholesaler, like marketing activities. The cost in terms of retailer, cost of producer, cost of collectors. So every cost that happen in terms of marketing charge will be included in this one. So, and the second part is marketing cost, the cost that you have by yourself, like the interest of the money that you loan, or the money that you ask from the bank, or the rental cost. So this is marketing cost. So remember like this way, the marketing margin composed of two things. First one is marketing charge. Second one is marketing cost. So marketing charge is the cost from the marketing activities during the process. But marketing cost is cost from yourself. Then, what is the factors that affects to the marketing margin? So they have many factors that affects to marketing margin. First one, the price, the level of the price change. So that's it. For example, if the gas price is increased, think about this one. I just mentioned the processing step will will have some effect from the factor that they use. So the gas is used for processing. So if you use for processing, the production cost will increase. So in this case, I'm gonna go back and forth very often for explaining this page. So if the cost of production increase, we're gonna have number one increase. So if number one increase, this will affect to margin increase. So think like this way. Then demand decrease. So if the demand decrease, which means you have the people don't want to buy your products, and then it's affect to the price at the farm decrease. Think about this way. If we have low demands of the consumer, then the farmer might not want to produce more. So the price at farm will decrease. If the price at farm is decreased, like you see PF or the price at farm is decreased. So the lower level of the number 2 box is reduced. So in this case, the number 2 box is reduced. So we have a higher gap of the marketing margin. So in this case, this is the answer why marketing margin increase. So you may ask me again or just rewatch again for this step. This is important. Second one, amount of products on the market. So if we have a lot of products on the market or we concerned about mass production, for example, the pineapple can. So in terms of product produced, the pineapple cans, you can have a lot of pineapple, and at that time it's gonna be mass production. So mass production affects to the production cost. So if you have mass production, the cost per unit is reduced. So things again, cost per unit is reduced, which means the marketing charge is reduced. So the box number 1 gonna have lower amount. So if we have lower amount of the box number 1, the marketing margin gonna be reduced or decreased. So I ask you to think like this way. And also, when you have mass production, you have low cost of production, and then it can link to we have the low retail price. So when we produce a lot, the unit cost is reduced and the price that you can sell is reduced. So if the price that you can sell is reduced, you can see like this case, the price that you can sell, the high bar of the top level of the box number 1 gonna be reduced. So if box number 1 is reduced, the marketing margin is reduced. So that is the reason why the answer in this case is gonna be marketing margin is reduced. So I know this is not easy to understand. So please watch again, or if you need me to talk again, let me know. Then think about the demands of the retail increase. So different situation. If we have high demand for the retail price, if many people want to buy your products, what will happen? If my meal is very famous on the market, that means I need to produce more. So I ask my farmer to produce more milk. So if I have to produce more milk, the price at my farm gonna be increased because we have high demand. Because we have people want to buy my products. So in this case, what I'm gonna consider, I'm considered like this way. If the price at farm increase, which means box number 2 gonna have the smaller amount, which means this level price at farm gonna shift upward, gonna have higher price. So if we have this case, gonna have higher price, the margin gonna be reduced. Okay, so this is how marketing margins affects. The third one, development of the new technology. The same thing, if we have very new technology, the production is very effective, so the cost production is reduced. If the cost production is reduced, which means you're gonna have lower amount of marketing charges, because it's considered about the producer of production. So we have lower amount of production charge, which means box number one is going to be smaller. So if we have smaller box number one, that means the marketing margin is reduced. So it has some effects like this way. The last one, change of consumer need. Change of consumer need, for example, is happening right now. We have high demands for the ready-to-use or ready-to-eat products. So we have high demand. So if we have high demand, think about if many people crazy about ready-to-eat food, like now, like COVID-19 pandemic, they want to have the frozen food or ready-to-eat food. We need to have high marketing charge from middle person, because we need to send, we need to produce more, we need to deliver the product to around the world. If in this case, we have very high demand, but the marketing charge is increased. So the marketing charge is increased, it lead to a big gap of box number one. So if we have the box number one increased, which means the marketing margin increased and the price at the retail gonna be increased. So again, marketing margin is not easy to understand, but please take a look about it carefully. So, and you can ask me again if it's not quite clear. So I record this video and explain to you step by step in order to make you understand how it affects. Okay, so I hope you understand it, but if not, that's okay. You can ask me too. The third key point is the regulations or the standard or the laws or the rules for doing agricultural products marketing. We have both domestic and international. So we will see how what we can do in the country and what we can do outside the country. For the first one, in terms of domestic, we need to think about the government. I show this. He is our current Prime Minister, Lung Tu, Uncle Tu. So the government play very important roles in solving agricultural problems, because the government need to control and need to take care of the factors that affects to agricultural productions. So sometimes like we have not enough water, so the government might need to solve the problem by supplying more water, or think about building the dam for reserve the water. Or they might think about some investment to have the higher production of the agricultural products. Or not he. The government also consider about the effective transportation, like we need to build the train for export agricultural products, or we need to have fast transportation by shipping with the airplane. Or sometimes when we have the natural crisis like flooded or very drought or very hot climate, the government need to take care of that, because if not, it will affect a lot to the amount for the agricultural products. Like we have the flood problem of very high level of the rainfall. So if we have high rainfall, the rice land will be flooded. Then we have low amount of rice on the market. So the government will take care of it by solving the problem by maybe you have some ways to solve to reduce the flood problem next year, or maybe just control the rice price. Because if we have the problem about the flood, the rice price might be increased. So the government might set the rice price that be standard. Or sometimes if we have overproduction of some specific fruit or vegetable, the government will control the price. We do not want to have very low price for the products. So What they can do first is that agricultural marketing policies. So the government need to set the policy by combining the marketing and the price of agricultural products together. So what they're gonna do first, they maintain or increase the price of agricultural products. So the government need to do it because if the price is quite low, it will affect to the income of the farmer, and also it will affect to the final product price. Second one, reduce marketing margin between producer and consumer. So the key point is we learn about marketing margin. Marketing margin including the marketing charge and marketing, I forgot about that. Marketing cost, right? So let's check that again. Yeah, marketing charge and marketing cost. So the government trying to reduce the gap between the marketing margin. So what they're gonna do, they're gonna increase the product price. So they can increase the price at farm and control the price when it's shortage. So when we don't have enough products, the price is increased, right? The price at the retail, the price at the purchase time is increased. So the government need to reduce it. So normally the concept is we trying to make is slow, is it's short. It's different in terms of the seller. The seller need to increase the marketing gap because they're gonna have more profit, but the government need to reduce the gap to maintain or to make the stable price on the market. The third one, motivate producers to produce the target products to meet the market. So the government need to have some policy to promote we call the economic crop or economic agricultural products. But they need to be careful for planning. They did not want, I don't want to see this problem again because it always happened in Thailand. Like if some product have very good price, many farmers gonna dump into it and just produce just the same product. So you need to have the specific area to produce some specific products, like curfew or like the land-based production. Last one, the government need to promote the food security because agricultural product mostly they're gonna be considered as the food. So they need to promote to produce agricultural products for the country, and it's gonna be good for our security for the food in the futures. So in summary, the government need to develop marketing system carefully and effectively. So I don't want to say our country right now in Thailand, we don't have quite effective marketing system. Some farmers just produce the agricultural products without any concern. They just produce whatever they like, whatever they want. So the government need to control and take care and give some advice to the farmer. Or sometimes the government need to have some regulations, some actions for internal sanction. Internal sanction is mean if the price is too low or if the price is too cheap. So the government need to just support and increase the price. Because the farmer, if they don't have a good price, it might be problem for them to produce the agricultural products, or they might get lost. For example, this is the real one. Think about Thai farmer. Some Thai farmer, they didn't have the land to grow the rice. They just rent the land. If the government did not help to maintain the rice price, if we have very low price of the rice this year, so the price that they can buy is quite low. That means they did not have a good chance to have some profit. If they don't have the profit, so they gonna have lost. They gonna lost a lot. So they need to loan the monies again to have the next crop, next year production, and it's gonna be collect of the loss. So the government need to take care of this one. And the next one, regulations for development of marketing policy. So we just talked about the government need to have fully developed or competitive or effective marketing system. So the government can do some development of marketing policy by first create and promote agricultural products market. We have to create many type of agricultural products market. First one, we need to have the central market. So central market is the place that you can have direct exchange. So in this case, we try to remove the middle person. And direct exchange is have the agreement or the same consideration between seller and buyer. So this is good because we can remove the charge from the middle person. Sometimes you can have fair auctions like bidding. We have this central market in Thailand too. It's like in the Japan, when they collect or when they catch the tuna fish, they're gonna have the fair auction and they can do it directly. And central market is also have the service for providing some marketing information for making decision. We're gonna talk about central market in next 3 or 4 chapters. So I can give you more details. But in just this point, sometimes central market is it a good place for having some information that you can use for making decision. For example, central market can let you know the price of specific product right now. Then you can make some decision that you will buy for today, or maybe if the price trend to reduce in the future, you might not need right that this time you will buy it for tomorrow or for next 3 years to have the lower price. So this is the function of the central market. So the key point for central market is they need to increase the market, like make it bigger market, and also develop the fair trade. We consider about the bad things for the middle person, which is they will add some unnecessary price or unnecessary marketing charge during the processing. So this is the key point that we use in terms of the central market. Next one, contract market. So contract market is you need to do some contract and that contract is the agreement that you will produce this specific products, and then if you produce it, you will send to the consumers. You will send to the producer that you already made the contract. Why this is important? Because it can guarantee about the number of the agricultural product that you will produce and you will deliver. So there's an advance agreement and exchange between the producer and buyer. Because sometimes you might really need to have very important product from some area. Like for me, if I want to have sticky rice, I might think about we can have the contract market from the farmer in Chiang Rai for having Kiao Ngu sticky rice, which is very specific variety. So then it's happened. I asked one producer that about the contract farming or contract market. And one thing that is happened is they have produced the sticky rice specifically variety on the Kiao Ngu, which is have very good quality. So they said the rice that plant today is already be booked from the seller. I think, whoa, what's happened? Because they said they can give you very high price, but my job is I'm trying my best to produce with the amount that they need. So this is how contract markets happen. Sometimes contract market is also considered about contract market is think about the grown location, the specific location for specific products, right? That I just mentioned. There's Gyeonggu rice. Price, they also concern quantity, also concern time, quality, payment. So they may make some agreement like you can pay in advance or 50% in advance, but after you send the product, I can pay you the rest of them. Or maybe you can add academic consult for contract market as well. So they might provide you some specific technique or some specific agreement when you produce agricultural products. Next one, we also have the third type of market that the government need to concern, which is future market. So the government think if you have the future market, is this gonna be good? Because is it the marketplace that where diverse range of the products in the future can be brought and sold. So future market is different from the contract market because contract market that is the place of the market that you can do some agreement, do some contract together. But future market, you do not need to do the contract, but you do the market according to the prediction in the future. So in this case, you're going to have the future market by prediction. For example, the rice market, the coffee market, or the tea market is considered to be the future exchange market. So what they're going to have some exchange, and then they're going to have some specific person who's going to serve in this future market, which is the broker. So the broker going to be the middle person who deal with the amount that you need for the agricultural products. For example, if you think about the tea market, so the broker gonna considers about what amount or what is the number of the product that you need. Then, for example, if you need to have 10 tons of the oolong tea, so they're gonna concern about they're gonna deal with many producers. Then they're gonna make some agreement. Then they're gonna trade and send the products to you. So this is the future exchange market. Okay, but they have some specific regulation, which is you need to be a member of the exchange to have this type of the action for the exchange. It means you need to be member of that group first. Then that one is the first one, which is we consider about creating and promote agricultural market. So the second point is the government will have the standard setup and agricultural product standard setup because for now, agricultural product, even we harvest or we plant it for a long time, but sometimes it's not standardized yet. It's not have good system. So you need to have to control the quality by setting the product specification, the product standard, system standard. Like after you harvest, you need to control the temperature. That is also standard. You need to control the production. You need to control the regulation that we need to apply. And marketing information provider. So this also needed. Of course, Thailand, one bad thing that happened is sometimes the organization that need to take care or helping or providing some information to the farmer is not work quite well. Sometimes the farmer did not know how to plan it, how to set the price, or sometimes they'll be they has been forced the price which is very low from the farm, then set the price which is very high for the end user. So you need to have marketing information provider to provide this information to the farmer. That should be good if you can have some person who can just let you know what you will need to do, like what crop or what food or what plant that you need to produce for the next year. Then they're gonna support you. So not only we have Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives to serve this part, but I don't want to say that is not quite effective. We need to improve it. Then storage of agricultural product, because it's still perishable. It's very easy to perishable. So you need to think about how to keep that to have a good quality or to extend the shelf life. So in this case, you need to keep product for selling when the price is increased. So the government will take care of this too. Sometimes, for example, if we have over productions of the longan like this time, the good ways to solve this problem is that you might do some process, maybe making the dry longan and sell it until it have a good price. The problem of the longan right like this year is we I don't know what is the fact, but as I know, I read from the article, which is the longan that we export to China have some mold, the microorganism that they did not concern to have on the product. So they think, oh, that's bad. So they just ban for Thai longan. Normally, longan we send to China a lot. So in this case, the government might need to take care how we can solve the problem. Maybe just keep in the cold storage for a while, or maybe do some processing. If we can keep for cold storage for a while, and then we solve the problem by make some solution, like clean the longans again or remove some bad part, then we can send to the Chinas again. Then develop the transportation. So I would say Thailand still need to have the fast movement transportation. We might have fast train. You might need to have fast truck, and with the low price, because if you can keep the low price for the transportation, it might be good for you to have the higher profit. And then you need to reduce any losing during transportation too. That means you might apply some technique, for example, control the temperatures, or maybe you can make it short, like fast transportation to reduce any losses. So this is all the government duty that they need to do. Sometimes the government can do some internal sanctions or internal intervention. The action that we can do for prevent or for reduce some situation. So the first one that the government can do is increase the product price. Sometimes if the product is the high season or the peak season, the product price might be very low. So the government might add the money to the system by increase the price, or we call the current price, the standard price. Because if they did not do it, the price of the product at that time can be very low. And if it's very low, the farmer gonna have the loss. Or maybe they can apply because subsidy program by supporting and or just increase the price by themselves. I remember one case is about the rubber tree as well. It's happened around last 20 years. At that time, the price for the rubber raw material is just 2 baht per kilogram. So the government add more price, like set the price again to be higher, is around 8 baht. And the money that the the money that they is this the difference between 8 from 2, like 6 baht different, the government pay for it. But for my perspective, for my consideration, the farmer cannot use this, the government cannot use this policy for all situation. Some situation you need to let it happen by the demand and supply, like the real situation on the market. And one bad thing that I consider is sometimes Thai farmers always ask for that price. They did not help themselves. They did not concern what they will plan to do, what they will plant or they will produce next year. They just do the things that they ever do. And they ask for help always. That's bad. Yeah, sorry. Or sometimes the government can keep some policy on the low interest program, like they ask from the bank, please give low interest for the loaners from the farmer, like this case. It's also okay too. For control the product's price, so if the products have low amount on the market, the things that happen is the price is going to be very high. So the government need to set the standard point, especially for control the margin price. So they have some specific food product or agricultural product that we need to control. The first one is rice. The second one is coffee, corn, milk, oil, sugar, pork, animal feed, and fertilizer. The reason why we need to control, because this is the major food product or major agricultural product that is consumed. If the price is high, too high, it affects to the living, what we use in English, the cost of living, sorry. Like, for example, for the price of the rice is increased a lot, it will affect to the cost of living and affects to the money that people need to pay. And after that, it affects to the whole economy, which is bad, because we might have some bad economy. And the other thing is the product that is mainly used for the industry or the mainly used for the consumptions, like fertilizer. If the price of fertilizer increase a lot, the production cost gonna be increased. And when the production cost is increased, the margin is increased. Or the production cost increase, the price at the farm will be increased. So see, it affects a lot. Then think about export regulation. So the thing that I just talked is about domestic, like what we can do in our country. We can do about the export standard or export regulations too. So we're talking about international regulation. We have tariff or we have tax regulation. In the past, we think about export tax. So we might set the export tax in order to have the income to our country. Like you want to export to US, you can have some export tax to use for development of the country. But for now, we omit or we reduce the export tax because the government want to promote the export business. That is good when you want to export the product to the world. Income tariff or income tax. So the good things that the government support right now is exporter can ask for tax refund 2 times of the amount of the money that they spend. For example, if you pay the tax for 1 million baht, you can ask for return, like tax refund for 2 million baht. So this is the policy that the government gives you. The other tax regulation is that you can have tax refund from the material that is used for producing the exporting products. For example, if you want to produce the canned tuna, so you can have some tax refund from the tuna that you import from the other country, but the final mission is you import the tuna, then you export to the other country. Then we can have the non-tax regulation too. So the government can promote the non-tariff regulation or non-tax regulation by promote the market expansion, increase the market by presenting the product in the other country, or present just make some agreement to the other country by having some exhibition, or just send some sample to the other country. That is the market promotion, like promote the market expansion, make it bigger. Or they can have the export and import bank to have the financial support to your business too. When you want to do international trading. That is the export regulation. How about import regulations? So normally, when we need to import some raw materials or some products from the other country, you need to set the tax. So we can have the tax for import. So we need to do that because we need to prevent some, we call dumping, or just situation that some countries send the product to your country with low price. For example, we need to set the import tax for some specific product. For example, for the low price product from China, like cabbage. So the cabbage produced from China is very low price, so you might need to set the import tax to have at least the same level as the price that is happened in our country. Or special tax for imported products. So as I read from the books, so they have 3 types of the imported product that specifically control feed corn, ground fish, and soybean meal, because this one is used for the internal production or food company. So you need to control the price by not to have too low. So that is the reason why when we need to import the feed corn, ground fish, or soybean meal, you need to pay more tax on it to control the price by not having too low price. And also we have tax refund for imported ingredient for producing export product. I think we have this already. Yeah, the same thing, like you can have tax refund for the imported ingredient to export to the other country. Then we also have import regulation in terms of non-tax regulation. We can set the import quota. Like China, we can have just 1 tons of the flour for this year. So we have limited number. Or sanitary or phytosanitary regulation. We can use this regulation, especially for the food product, because if you not control this one, sometimes the imported products might be quite have high standard. For example, you might have some problem of contamination of the virus from imported products too. So we have some organization who take care of this one, and then they're gonna inspect everything about sanitation, like the standard of the health, and also phytosanitation is about the plant. For example, sometimes We import some plant from the other country, and that plant will be bad for the local plant because that plant will affect or will invade or destroy the local plant. This happens a lot in some cases. For example, the fish. We have the case of piranha fish. Piranha fish is import illegal, and then they kill the local fish. So we need to control that problem. And not just only the sanitation, they also concerned about chemical residue. Sometimes we import the fruit from the other country, but if they have high chemical residue, we need to ban it. It happens like we just send some food product to the other country too. About the longan case as well, we have dry longan. And the longan that we use, we apply the smoke. And the smoke, we have sulfur dioxide, which is toxic. They have the standard with sulfur dioxide should be low than this level. But when we send in some country, it have high level. And the problem is, it's not good for the people who have asthma or have a problem on respiration. So that's country that ban our products too. Sometimes we also have the pandemic of insects from the import products, or the good ways. You need to have certificate or standard like good manufacturing practice, the standard that is mentioned to you last time, that every food producer or every agricultural producer must have GMP. And for the food producer, you must have HACCP for exporter. Labeling. So the labeling is the regulation that you need to present, which is the origin of the product, like which part that is produced from which country, and the language used as well. That is the reason why we will see many. Sometimes we have the Thai language from the label of the imported products. Environment regulation. You're concerned about the environment. It will not be harmful for the environment. Some product they're concerned about this one too. Like you need to present this is the chemical free, or this is not make any pollution for the environment. If you can prove this is the bad product for the environment, so they can ban your product. Anti-dumping regulation. Anti-dumping regulation is happen when the price of the products from the other country is lower than our country or local price. So what is happened? Normally, you want to use the lower price raw material, right? So for example, if the rice from China is cheaper than Thai, you try to import rice from the China. Then what the government need to do? The government need to set the tax for that product. We call anti-dumping regulation or countervailing regulation. So the government will set import countries by set the tax to reduce the support from export country to compensate with the loss. For example, it's very close to anti-dumping, but if China want to export the rice to Thailand, then they need to pay more tax for in order to support the part that we lost. For example, if the price from China, if the rice price from the China is 10 baht, and the local price for rice in Thailand is around 15 baht. So we will ask the China to pay more tax for 5 baht. That is the things that we lost. Or in order to have the same price during the country. So we call the countervailing regulations. So both last regulation, we did it sometime because we don't want to have very low price from the product from the other country. Because if we accept the low price, it's destroying the product price in Thailand in local, and its effects to the economy. It will be destroyed very completely. That is bad too. Okay, then non-tariff regulation. So the first one is tariff. Oh no. The first one is non-tax regulations too. The second one is also non-tax regulation. So the government will set the selling, or we call the procurement. So the government will set standard for domestic ingredient use only non-imported ingredient. Sometimes the government will set like every factory in Thailand, you need to use just local products. If we know that you use the imported products, they will ask you to pay for the tax like this way. Or rule of origin. So this one is very close to the first one, which is you need to apply the special tax payment for specific area for with the certificate of origin or C/O. For special trading right, such as Free Trade Area or WTO, the World Trade Organization, because they know that sometimes you produce the food and it's not produced from the origin country. Like you mentioned, like you want to produce the bread by using the milk from Japan to promote your product, but you did not have any certificate or guarantee or evidence that you used the milk from Japan. So it is the fake origin. So in this case, we can apply the rules of origin to prevent the bad actions that you did for the agricultural products. Then we also have, sometimes we also have the label measures or label regulations, like you will ban the product that use the kids' labels or the animal welfare, like use harmful, have some bad actions to the animal. Like we have the case last year, it's about the coconut milk that some countries just filmed our country for using the monkey to harvest the coconut fruit. So actually, is this the bad things? Of course, we did not use the monkey for harvest or for collect the coconut, but it is the traditions. But they think Thai people use the monkey, and we need to ban the coconut products for the world market. And as I know, it's actually they're trying to create the bad image or discredit for Thai products. So that's bad too. So this is non-tariff regulation. So I'm quite tired because this chapter is not easy to teach because it's about policy. It's about it's not related to the marketing things. Are quite not related, but that's okay. Please try to understand us again and let me know if you need more explanation. For the last part is the supporting units. We have government supporting unit and we have private supporting units. So for the government supporting unit, we have Ministry of the Commerce, which is they're going to set the policy and regulation for agricultural products marketing. this is the one that I think they need to take care for the marketing planning, especially for the agricultural products. So this organization have the duty for helping the farmer. So they have the farmer or producer health board. They have the national rice board. They have the sugar and sugarcane board to consider and control about the productions in Thailand. And this organization also have the duty for promote the market, like we have to create and promote the central market, contract market, and future exchange market. We just talked. They need to set up the standard in terms of quality, quantity, and also maybe composition and packaging and ingredient. They need also to promote the export. And sometimes they get involved for international negotiation. Like sometimes we have a problem to the other country. So Ministry of the Commerce need to take care about it and take control and provide some information for food business or agricultural business service. So Ministry of the Commerce take care of this one. And they also need to set the standard or regulation in order to have the fairness. Like if you see sometimes that we have very bad actions from some country for trading, like they give very low price. So Ministry of Commerce will control that situation. And also they need to provide some information in both domestic and international for the trading, doing some business. So this is for Ministry of the Commerce. Second one, we can have Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. This one is dealing directly to the agricultural products marketing. Trust me, because it's this ministry concerned about the food product or agricultural product and the activity during the agriculture. So they need to provide the help on policy and regulations set up, and also the price to the agricultural products around the country. Standard set up for agriculture and food. This one get involved for having the GMP, GAP, good agricultural practice or good manufacturing practice too. This one also involved for giving the certification. They create a central market. This one is mainly get involved, and also information for production and business in both domestic and international. As I just mentioned, this one, if they work effectively or completely, they might be good for the farmer who know what they need to do or what they need to plan in the future. The other government supporting that we need to consider is going to be warehouse business. So if you have a lot of agricultural products, you need to keep into the cold warehouse. So they might have some service that's going to provide to you, or some government sanctions that we just talked to, maybe price sanctions or the policy sanction. Then we can have the non-profit organization or the private supporting units too. Normally we can have Chamber of Commerce, we can have trade association, or we have Thai Council Industry that they work together to promote agricultural products to the international market, to give some consult, to connect with the entrepreneur and the government, because sometimes the government can do something very slow. So this non-profit organization will be the middle person who just link and help to have the fast process. So sometimes they also have provide the financial support, transportation unit, and warehouse service and insurance service as well. So this is all non-profit organization. So that's all for the second chapter. And as I mentioned before, this one is not quite easy to understand, and it's not easy to teach you guys as well. But please let me know any part that you need more explanation or you don't understand any part. I'm gonna do the pretest and then just send to you. So thank you so much for watching, and see you for the live session.